You know you don't have to act with me, Steve. You don't have to say anything, and you don't have to do anything. Not a thing. Oh, maybe just whistle. You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
But do you know how it was that you were able to convey this impression on the screen of sophistication?
It had something to do with my look, my voice, and I suppose I enjoyed that character.
From the time she first appeared on the screen as the sultry and acid-tongued Slim in To Have and Have Not, Lauren Bacall has been a stylish symbol of the entertainment industry. Her image has developed rather along the lines of the youthful Slim to that of a mature, sophisticated and resourceful woman of the world. Yet her background was very different. Born Betty Perske in 1924 to a strict New York Jewish family, she was an only child whose parents divorced when she was 6. From her earliest years, she was fascinated by the stage. First, she daydreamed about dancing and then determined to become an actress. As a teenager, she met her screen heroine, Betty Davis, and years later was to recreate on Broadway in the musical Applause Betty Davis's great role of Margot Channing in All About Eve.
She was nice to you anyway, wasn't she?
Betty Davis was terrific.
Yes.
She was terrific. And also she has since been, because, I mean, in the days of Warner Brothers, I really didn't see her at all. And after I didn't see her really until Applause when she came backstage. And of course she created the character of Margot Channing. She is the definitive Margot Channing, certainly in everyone's mind, because that film will last forever. And I just was it for the musical comedy stage. And she was very kind of reserved, but very nice, generous, but reserved. And I felt very awkward. But since the book has come out, she wrote me a lovely letter. You know, she's quite a woman. She just is reserved. I think she always has been that way. That was her background, her New England upbringing. Welcome to the theater, to the magic, to the fun, where painted trees and flowers grow and laughter rings fortissimo and treachery sweetly done. Now you've entered the asylum. This profession unique. Actors are children, playing hide and ego seek. So welcome, Miss Eve Harrington, to this business we call show. You're on your way to wealth and fame. Unsheathe your claws, enjoy the game. You'll be a bitch, but they'll know your name. From New York to Kokomo. Welcome to the theater, my dear. You'll love it so. Welcome to the dirty concrete hallways. Welcome to the friendly roaches, too. Welcome to the pinchers from the stagehands. It's the only quiet thing they do. Welcome to the Philadelphia critics. Welcome, Librium and Nebutol. Welcome to a life of laryngitis. Welcome to dark toilets in the hall. Welcome to the flock you thought would run for years. Welcome to the world of fears and cheers and tears. Welcome to the theater. With some luck, you'll be a pro. You'll work and slave and scratch and bite. You'll learn to kill with sheer delight. You'll only come alive at night when you're in a show. Welcome to the theater, you fool. You love it so.
In spite of some resistance from her family, the young Betty Perske, soon to be Bacall, attended the American Academy of Dramatic Arts for 1 year and later had a couple of small roles in not particularly successful plays. She was then discovered by the model agency of the legendary Diana Freeland and began to do some modeling. Almost certainly it was this that set in motion a train of events which years later would lead back to the New York stage. As a model, photographs of her featured in Harper's Bazaar and were seen by director Howard Hawks. Film tests were arranged, her name was changed to Lauren Bacall, and she was given a role in To Have and Have Not, which led in turn to the fateful meeting with Humphrey Bogart.
You're not to touch my husband.
That's all right with me.
Oh, Harry, please. She's not herself.
Now, look, lady, they can't get a doctor without giving the whole show away.
I won't let you do it.
He's not badly hurt. He's unconscious because he's... Oh, come in, Slim.
Hello.
Miss Browning, this is Madame de Boussac.
Who are you?
Nobody, just another volunteer. What'll I do with this water, Steve?
I dropped these instruments in it. You better get out of here, Mrs. de Boussac. You may not like this.
I'll be all right.
But then hold this can of chloroform. If he comes to while I'm probing, pour some on this cotton and give him a whiff. Don't open it until I tell you to.
His arm. Look at it. How can you?
Oh, fine, fine. She's out.
Like a light.
Madame.
Oh, now, let her alone, Frenchie. Slim, any chloroform left?
Some, enough maybe.
All right, fan those fumes away or we'll all be out. Hey, wait a minute, not towards her. Well, keep your fingers crossed. Let's have that dressing, Frenchie.
Here, Harry, here.
Bandages?
Now, you and Frenchie can do that. Adhesive tape in the box. I'm afraid the patient's going to recover. Well, I better get Nursey up off the floor. She may catch cold.
Oh, she's all right. Just fainted.
I've got her.
What are you trying to do? Guess her weight?
Oh, she's heftier than you think.
Maybe you'd better just look after her husband.
He's not going to run out on me.
Neither is she.
Yeah, when you're finished, go upstairs and get some sleep, and thanks for your help.
I'd rather stay here.
You heard me. No, for the lover. Now, what did I do?
You know, Harry, before I told Miss Browning you are a very strange man. Now I tell you, she is a very strange girl.
Yeah.
Funny. That is what she said. Yeah.
When you first met Humphrey Bogart, there was no clap of thunder.
No.
I wonder, what was it that turned you on to him?
Well, I think it was his brain, really. I think it was his wit. He had a great sense of humor and very original sense of humor. And I think it was finally chemistry. I mean, I wasn't aware of it when we first met, but as we worked every single day in the film, after 3 weeks of seeing him every single day, I mean, suddenly you know that you can't wait to get up in the morning and get to work, not only because you want to work, but because you want to see that person. Mm-hmm. And we brought out very good things in one another. And he started off kidding me to make me feel comfortable, to relax me, to calm my nerves. He calmed them in one way and not in another. He was not a flirt. And he was not a man who fooled around. When he was married, he was married. Even if he didn't love his wife, he was married, and that was it. And so it was very hard for him to make any kind of a move, especially towards someone like myself, who was 25 years his junior.
Bogart and Bacall married shortly after To Have and Have Not, and subsequently starred together in 3 more films. Not many, perhaps, but sufficient to create the special Bogart and Bacall legend as great screen lovers. Here's an extract from The Big Sleep, in which Bogart is the tough private detective, Bacall the languorous, more than a match for you woman, the type of relationship which made their films so successful.
Sometimes I wonder what strange fate brought me out of the storm to that house that stood alone in the shadows. As I probed into its mysteries, every clue told me a different story. But each had the same ending, murder. Every instinct warned me to beware that something more dangerous, more deadly than I'd ever known before was in that room. And suddenly, you wanted to see me?
So you're a private detective. I didn't know they existed except in books, or else they were greasy little men snooping around hotel corridors. Ah, you're a mess, aren't you?
I'm not very tall either. Next time I'll come on stilts, wear a white tie, and carry a tennis racket.
I doubt if even that would help. Now, this business of Dad's, think you can handle it for him?
It shouldn't be too tough.
Really? I would have thought a case like that took a little effort.
Not too much.
What will your first step be?
The usual one.
I didn't know there was a usual one.
Sure there is. It comes complete with diagrams on page 47 of how to be a detective in 10 easy lessons, correspondence school textbook, and your father offered me a drink.
You must have read another one on how to be a comedian.
Hear what I said about the drink?
I'm quite serious, Mr. Marlowe. My father's
said your
not. Help
father-
yourself. You know, I don't see what there is to be cagey about, Mr. Marlowe. And I don't like your manners.
Well, I'm not crazy about yours. I didn't ask to see you. I don't mind if you don't like my manners. I don't like them myself. They're pretty bad. I grieve over them long winter evenings, and I don't mind you ritzing me or drinking your lunch out of a bottle. But don't waste your time trying to cross-examine me.
People don't talk to me like that.
Oh.
Do you always think you can handle people like trained seals?
Uh-huh. I usually get away with it, too.
How nice for you.
I'm wasting your time. Goodbye, Mrs. Rutledge.
The early years in Hollywood and her marriage to Bogart, the period of the late 40s and early 50s, were for Lauren Bacall probably her happiest. She appeared with Bogart on the immensely popular radio shows of such stars as Crosby and Sinatra. Again, the sketches perpetuated the created screen image.
Thank you, and the same to you.
Bing, you've just got to talk Bogey out of this idea that he's a singer. Here he comes now.
Oh, yes, folks, here's Humphrey Bogart.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, baby.
Hello, baby.
Hi, Bogey.
Oh, here, boy. Hold my music.
What are you singing, John Peel or something? Hold your music, what for?
What for,
Yes.
he says. What for? What's the matter, Crosby? You afraid of a little new blood?
Oh, did you get some new blood?
You know what I mean.
I was just asking. I thought I might get some for myself.
Well, don't tell me your troubles.
Bogey, why don't you just be your sweet, charming self and forget about being a singer?
Yeah, but I just started.
Let me tell you something, Bogey. It just could be, you know, that you're a little too old to start singing.
It just could be that you're old enough to stop singing.
Say, you know something? You could be a reconditioned singer. I see a lot of them advertised on television with new bobbins and everything.
He needs more than bobbins.
Hey, what is this? My own wife?
Now, let's get this straight once and for all. Bing is my favorite singer, and you're my favorite husband.
You're still playing his record of Mule Train. Even the mules gave up on that.
Well, I'm not giving up.
Yeah? Let me tell you something. Arthur Godfrey wants me on his Talent Scouts program. But I can't get anyone to be my Talent Scout.
Why don't you try the Boy Scouts of America? They're cooperative.
Your display of jealousy is boring me. Pardon me while I spray my throat.
Oh, get this. He's got an atomizer yet.
Not bad.
It's a good spray, huh?
It ought to be. That's the only atomizer I ever saw with an olive in it.
Oh, man. How I wished I had a spray like that when I was singing at the Coconut Grove in the old days, huh?
Oh, didn't you?
That's what I hear.
You know, Bing, show business is funny. When I was a guest on your program before, I thought it was going to be just another radio guest shot. But I sang, and suddenly it hit me. Singing is my racket. It opened up an entire new field for me.
Understand you're not bad out in the field, is it? You know, I think it's hardly fair to your public or to your admirers to just stand here and talk about your singing. I think it'd be very nice if you're serious about it, just sing a number for the folks. Sing it right now.
Well, I'd be very happy to.
Bing, how could you?
Well, I'm getting tired. I want to get off my feet for a minute.
What'll I sing, baby? Tulips and Heather, that song Perry Como does so well?
Why don't you sing that corny little sea chanty that you know so well?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, for my first selection, I will sing The Bold Fisherman, a bright yet compelling song of the sea.
Folks, stand by. It's now time for bogey.
I'm not going to stick my neck out alone. You and Baby are going to join in, aren't you?
Just try and keep us out.
Mr. Trotter, would you sound a bell note or something for Mr. Bogart so he could start this immortal song of the sea,
There was a bold fisherman set sail from off Billingsgate to catch the bold piggy and the gay mackerel. But when he got off Pimlico, the winds did begin to blow, and the little boat wibble-wobbled so that overboard went he, singing, Twinkie-deedle-dum, Twinkie-deedle-dee, was the highly interesting song that he sung. Twinkie-deedle-dum, Twinkie-deedle-dee, bold fisherman.
Bogey, that's great. After that, shrimp boats is a-going. That's all I can say.
Let him go, let him go.
Say, baby, you're not going to get shut out here. Aren't you going to do a chorus?
Okay.
If you think you're a baritone, Crosby, wait till you hear her.
Quiet.
Yes, ma'am.
Down, boy, down, boy.
Out there on the briny deep, he met with a mermaid. They had cocktails and mussels, for her name was Malone. Her hair was seaweed fine as lace, her form curved with lovely grace. But unfortunately, she had a face like a gay mackerel. She sang Twinkie-deedle-dum, Twinkie-deedle-dee, was the highly interesting song that she sang. Twinkie-deedle-dum, Twinkie-deedle-dee,
Bold fisherman.
That's very stylish. That was wonderful, baby.
Your turn, Bing. Cut yourself a little piece of this.
Here we go. He swam to the bottom then and lived very happily, a-singing and a-dancing to the lobster quadrille.
Quiet.
Yes, sir.
And oh, when it was time to sup, he'd milk a whale and fill his cup, and with a swordfish he'd open up a can of sardines, singing Twinkie-deedle-dum, Twinkie-deedle-dee, was the highly interesting song that he has sung. Twinkie-deedle-dum, Twinkie-deedle-dum, bold. Now for the big finish. Bold fish. There's a low note coming here. Who's going to grab it?
I got it.
After the births of her two children, Bacall appeared only in the occasional film. The light-hearted comedy How to Marry a Millionaire with Marilyn Monroe and Betty Grable. Soap operas like Written on the Wind with Rock Hudson. By the mid-50s, Bogart was dying of lung cancer. In the last months of his life, Lauren was making a film which, although not a classic and possibly no longer well remembered, was the first since her earliest to consolidate the image of the stylish and worldly woman. The film, Designing Woman with Gregory Peck. In it, she portrays a fashion designer married to a sports commentator.
me Woman of the Year wasn't what you'd call a fluke. I understand I won it in a breeze. So the ladies should be thrilled. Their expectations are fulfilled as I'm broadening my field of expertise. I wrote the book on how to be cool. I wrote the book on how to be strong. I wrote the book on how to interpret the news and never be wrong. I wrote the book on how to be tough. I wrote the book on how to be terse. I wrote the book on every subtextual phrase in Eliot's verse. I wrote the book on how to have class. I wrote the book on how to have clout. I wrote the book on reading government pamphlets and doping them out. So when it comes to losing a man, you'll find it unsurprisingly true that last week I wrote that book too. And Cairo by night. I wrote the book on how to be chic. I wrote the book on how to be smart. I wrote the book on how to evaluate trends in fashion and art. I wrote the book on how to have style. I wrote the book on wisdom and wit. I wrote the book on every great English statesman from Cromwell to Pitt. So when it comes to losing a man, you'll find it unsurprisingly true that last week I wrote that book too. So when it comes to losing a man, it should be unsurprising to you to note that I wrote that book.
Following Bogart's death in 1957, Lauren Bacall found herself left to piece together not only her life, but a career that had always taken second place to her family. Strangely, she also found herself virtually ostracized by Hollywood.
Why do you think that Hollywood did give you almost a cold shoulder for a long period after Bogart's death? I mean, why do you feel that?
Well, they thought I was a rich widow. And, you know, in Hollywood, if you're not there, they think you're dead, or you may as well be, or they don't think of you at all. Mm-hmm. And if you're there and not in the top 3, you also may as well be dead. So it's very difficult to be there.
It's partly a matter of actually living there on the spot, is it? And going the rounds of producers and agents.
You can't. I mean, once you have a name, you see, you can't. If they want you, they'll come to you. Mm-hmm. And if they don't want you, there's nothing you can do about it. That is the horror of my profession.
Then came a highly publicized romance with Frank Sinatra. After this failed, she left Hollywood for good. She moved first to London for 2 years, and then home to New York for the play Goodbye Charlie with Sidney Chaplin. It was while she was working on this play that she met her second husband, actor Jason Robards. They had a child, and Lauren returned to films. Not particularly good films. Perhaps you saw Shock Treatment or Sex and the Single Girl. Within a few years, Her second marriage was in trouble. Better roles, greater opportunities, and happier times were yet to come.
A scrapbook full of clippings of things long forgotten. There's something greater. A picture in the paper that makes you look rotten. There's something greater. The meaningless attention, the bowing and the smirking of some head waiter. That lost and empty feeling the nights that you're not working. I know there's something better. I know there's something greater. A theater full of strangers adoring you blindly. There's something greater, there's something greater. The friends who know you're lonely and treat you too kindly. There's something greater, there's something greater. There's needing to be where he is, waking up and there he is, being to your man what a woman should be. That's something greater, something greater, and finally that's for me. There's needing to be where she is, waking up and there she is, being to your man what a woman should be. That's something greater.
Something greater was indeed about to happen. In 1965, at the Royal Theatre, where a very youthful Betty Perske had excelled as an usherette, the mature Lauren Bacall opened in the female lead of Cactus Flower. Then came the role of Margot Channing in Applause, the musical version of All About Eve. This role placed Lauren Bacall at the pinnacle of her acting career. For it, she won the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical. Sadly, her greatest fan, supporter, and mentor, her mother, did not live to see and enjoy her daughter's greatest triumph. She had died only months before the opening.
Another lovely thing that comes out of the book and starts very early and grows right through the book is a tremendous feeling for your mother, who in a sense, by the end, has emerged as the central figure, terribly important to you.
Well, she was
So many
the central
ways.
figure, definitely. I mean, she is the one that first set my character and stressed the importance and value of it. She was a remarkable woman. And, of course, all through my life, I depended upon her. And I would certainly the reaction of many people to the book, I would say, has been I have received more mail in relation to what I'd written about my mother than about anything else or anyone else in the book.
There's a beautiful short passage in the book about her second marriage, which came after you were already married. And it seems to reveal that suddenly you understood how she'd put her personal life aside for years for you, because you were important. And suddenly you could see this, and you were happy about it.
Oh, yes. Oh, very, very. She was, I mean, that was true. He's still alive, my stepfather, and he's a wonderful man. But I was always, I mean, the sun rose and set on me. I mean, there just were no two ways about that. An only child, you know, and when you have brought up your only child yourself, I mean, I was this perfect creature. And she wanted me only to be perfect and only to have everything, you know, as parents very often do.
They also forgive everything.
Yes.
Which is nice.
They don't judge you the way,
Right.
I mean, they, certainly, I mean, a mother looks upon a child in an open, loving, forgiving way that no other human being ever will look upon you.
It seems to have been an understandably a great heartbreak for you that she went before that success in applause on Broadway.
Yeah. You see, I mean, that is the wonderful thing about life, right? Is that you never, first of all, the best people are ill and the best people die sooner than they should, it seems to me. And that she did not live to see, I mean, to really enjoy that and to see that I really had realized something that I'd wanted all my life and that she had wanted for me, of course, is, what can you do? There's nothing you can do.
You are one of a kind, a fabulous bird. You're out of your mind and way out of sight. You're one of a kind, unique is the word, and that's why I find the others all trite. I like the weird things that happen inside of your skull. Being with you may be hard on the nerves, but it's never dull. Oh no, never dull. You walk in a room and people all stare, 'cause baby you bloom, they'd have to be blind to not recognize the rarest of rare. Right under their eyes you're one of a kind. If there were two of you, or God forbid a few of you, too much is what it would be. But you're one of a kind, one of a kind, one of a kind, one of a kind, and you're the kind of a woman for me. Who else would take a swim completely dressed in Central Park at 3 a.m. the night she won the Tony?
I didn't do that.
Yes, you did.
Who grabbed a flaming cherry jubilee and burned a movie script at Chasen's yelling it was phony?
Was that me?
You always were a crazy kid.
I shudder at the things you did. Your ego seems to suit my id.
So kiss me.
You mad fool. You know you grind your teeth at night.
Your snoring is a real delight.
It's noisy, but we sleep all right.
You are one of a kind, a fabulous bird. You're out of your mind and way out of sight. You're one of a kind, unique is the word, and that's why I find the others all trite. At times you're selfish and stubborn and blind as a mole. But even so, you're a kick to be with. You're good for my soul, so good for my soul. You walk in a room and people all stare, 'cause baby you bloom and have to be blind to not recognize the rarest of rare. Right under their eyes you're one of a kind. If there were two of you, or God forbid, a few of you, too much is what it would be. But you're one of a kind, one of a kind, one of a kind, one of a kind, and you're the kind of nut for me.
Lauren Bacall is now an established Broadway star. She's had roles in highly successful films such as Murder on the Orient Express, again the witty Sophisticate, and is currently starring on Broadway in the musical success Woman of the Year.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the moment we've all been waiting for. The presentation of this year's award to Ted Harding.
Sam Craig, wherever you are, listen, you son of a bitch. Listen to that.
This gracious, well-known public figure we've admired for so long.
Sam Craig, wherever you are, you arrogant, ill-tempered, brutish, insensitive, chauvinist son of a bitch. Listen to that.
Achievements in the many fields of her endeavor.
It's my night, Sammy, all mine, Sammy, and you can't give it your well-known whammy.
The nominee committee, consisting of Miss Maud Nickers, Miss Vi Langford, and Miss Kate Johnson, were unanimous in their choice of this year's celebrated winner.
The ladies are singing my praises, led by to them. Speak up, girls, don't be shy, speak up. What a charge, Kate, in the atmosphere. $50 a plate for the woman of the year. Look alive, more keep the day, it's clear, while they all applaud for the woman of the year. She's charming, she's attractive, she's gifted, and younger than you thought she was too. She's never had a single thing lifted. She's a cunning little devil, and tonight she gives the devil her due. Don't be shy by when she does appear. Give a big shrine, let her know you're here. Let your foot stamp for the new champ, who's the woman of the year. She's Quiz Nixon, strange man Nixon. She's met Brezhnev, tough nut Brezhnev. She slept at Buckingham Palace, saw the scholar walk out by Calais, took tea with Gertrude and Alice, and if you knew Nehru like she knew Nehru, oh, what a girl. She's a pip pat, she's a pioneer, she's the pussycat that we're here to cheer. She's a big tree. Will you rise, as we honor her career in contemporary life as a writer and a fighter and a leader and a wife? And Sam Craig, wherever you are, so you think I'm a sham, take your power and Shazam and go stuff it and scram, 'cause goddammit I am the woman of the
So there's a thread in the book which gives us the idea that the grafting of that image has been a trial for you, both personally and professionally, in so many ways over the years.
Well, in a way, people expect you to be that. And also, in another sense, you take on some of the characteristics because it is expected of you. And it also is a way of protecting yourself. I mean, if I can kind of seem to be very strong and, have a lot of badinage goes on between me and whoever I meet, that kind of is protection for me. So Howard did say at to some member of the press many years ago that he gave me this character and now I was going to be stuck with it. And in a way, that is true. And I suppose also there is some of the character that you are given at the beginning, or the personality, just kind of seeps its way into your pores, and you take on some of those characteristics. It's
extraordinary experience it must be. And I think
it's weird, and I don't think you realize it. One isn't really aware of it at the time, but it happens. And it's a burden for an actress because anything that types you, that puts you in a slot, of course, is I resent. We all do.
Yes.
And on the one hand, in a way, it is what used to make a star, and probably still does. But on the other hand, it does confine you, and then people don't think of you in any other way at all. You just can only play that kind of part. And there are those kind of parts are written for a few years, and then what do you do for the rest of your life? So, in that respect, it has been a burden. And also, I suppose, there have been people who, on meeting me, have very preconceived notions of what I am.
I dare say, yes.
And don't, take the trouble to really find out.
By the power vested in me by the Ink Pot Saloon, I hereby dub Tess Harding, occasionally known as Tessie Cat, former scourge of all mankind, as a newly elected member of the good old guys, and welcome to the club. Come in, Miss Sergeant,
fellas. Wanna wrestle? I'm one of the girls who's one of the boys, enjoying the jokes and the smokes and the noise. You want to go fishing? Well, hand me the reel. I majored in poker, so shut up and deal. I'm one of the gals who's one of the guys, so put up your jukes and I'll blacken your eyes. Behind all the Bucci and pearls, I'm one of the boys, although I'm one of the girls. I'm one of the does who's one of the stags. I chuggle a bruise when I lose on the nag. Forget the Max Factor you find on my face. For barbershop bores, I'm a fabulous bird. Who's one of the queens, who's one of the drones. Just hand me the dice and I'll rattle your bones. In spite of the dress, the finesse and the poise, I'm one of the girls, although I'm one of the boys. I'm one of the girls who's one of the boys, enjoying the jokes and the smokes and the noise. You want to go fishing? Well, hand me the reel. I majored in poker, so shut up and deal. I'm one of the gals who's one of the girls, so put up your jukes and I'll blacken your eyes. In spite of the dress, the finesse and the poise, I'm one of the girls, although I'm one of the boys. With a varsity crew, you want to play snooker? Well, chalk up your cue. I'm one of the James, who's one of the Joes. Just hold us the door while I powder my nose. I've layers of lacquer, a lady enjoys. I've earrings and bracelets and various toys. But I love when I've slipped into ripped corduroys, because I'm one of the girls. One of the girls. I am one of the girls. One of the girls.
I wonder if you'd talk a bit about that, about being by yourself, the pluses and minuses of that.
Well, I was by myself for quite a while after Bogey died. And suddenly it's the making of decisions by yourself, which I had to do in relation to my 2 children. And then also I did that to a great extent with Sam, my 3rd son, when Jason and I were divorced. And so I've lived by myself for 10 years now. And one of the reasons for the title also was that I wrote the book by myself.
I know, I think I got that, yes.
But I'll tell you about living by yourself. It's wonderful to learn to live by yourself. There are moments when it is a little lonely, although it isn't terrible. You see, if there isn't anyone you want to be with, I don't think it's so terrible. It's inconvenient if you want to go out sometimes and you don't have an escort, but that's a hell of a reason to get married to somebody, is for you know, to have an escort. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
I guess it's happened.
But it is kind of wonderful to please yourself. I am doing what I want to do for the most part. I mean, obviously, when you have children, you don't do everything that you want to do. So there is always that, which keeps you from being totally spoiled. And I've always had to work, which keeps me from being totally spoiled. But it does spoil you in a way, in that if you, I mean, I just made up my mind a long time ago that, I mean, I'm not going to waste my time with a lot of people that I don't care about. I'm not going to give my life away because I don't have that much life to give away. And that I want to be with the people that I care about, and that's that. And otherwise, I am much happier by myself. I don't want to dissipate my energy by decorating someone's living room and going to openings and all kinds of things that I don't want to do, that don't interest me.
Gerald, I think my record speaks for itself. I think I can look back and safely say I was right.
That's right.
I was perfectly right.
Right.
My instincts were valid and strong, right?
That's right.
When you're right, you're right.
Right.
I know when I'm right. Can you honestly say I was wrong?
Right. Wrong.
I was right.
Right.
That's right. I was perfectly right.
Right.
I was and I've been all along, right?
That's right.
When you're right, you're right. I know when I'm right. It's remarkably rare that I'm wrong, right? That's right. I mean, even in my personal life, I've always made the right decision. When I married Larry, I was 18, he was 20. We were both journalism students in Missouri, and all he wanted to be was William Allen White. I had a job on a local TV station. I was only doing the weather, but some network executive happened to see me one night. So I knew I had to go to New York, and Larry would be happier editing a newspaper in Colorado or somewhere, so it was time for a break. And though we both still cared for each other, he had to go his way, I had to go mine. So the split up was not a mistake. Now Larry's remarried and blissful out west. And I love my career. It was all for the best. I was right.
That's right.
I was perfectly right.
Right.
My instincts were valid and strong. Right.
Right.
When you're right, you're right.
Right.
I know when I'm right. It's remarkably rare that I'm wrong. Right. That's right. Need we even mention my professional life? When I started doing hard news, those decisions weren't easy, you know. I remember interviewing Nasser and saying, look, Gamal, do me a favor and do not invade Israel. But no, he went right ahead. Then there was Ehrlichman and Haldeman. I said, boys, you've got to tell the truth. What did they do? Lies, every word that they said. Then Alexei Petrikov, the Russian dancer, said he was bored at the Bolshoi. I told him to defect, but he was too meek. Now a friend of mine just got back from Moscow, says he's frustrated, unhappy, and dancing Spartacus 4 times a week. Now a braggart I'm not.
Right.
But doesn't it show? My margin for error is exceedingly low. I was right.
That's right.
I was perfectly right.
Right.
My instincts were valid and strong, right?
That's right.
When you're right, you're right.
Right.
I know when I'm right. It's remarkably rare that I'm wrong. Right? That's right. Now we have this second-rate cartoonist. My God, what's all the uproar about? Obviously, I made the right decision again. All I did was present a well-considered analysis of how the funnies are trashing the arts, and it sets off this ridiculous flap. So he creates me as a character in his puerile little strip to put Klutz, or whatever the hell that cat's name is, on the map. Well, when I get that publicity-grabbing, exploitive, detestable little weasel in here, well, I make him squirm. I bet I can tell you what he looks like, too. He's probably a short, Napoleonic, bald, fat, pudgy, pasty-faced worm.
Yes, sir?
Sam Craig to see Miss Harding.
Miss Harding, Mr. Sam Craig is here.
Wonderful. Please send Mr. Sam Craig in. There's only one way to treat vermin like that. I'll show him what cats are. That beady-eyed worm. Mr. Craig?
Now look, Miss Harding.
Mr. Craig, before you say anything, let me tell you something straight out. I was wrong. That's right. I was totally wrong. No. And not to confess would be small. That's right. When you're wrong, you're wrong. I know when I'm wrong. And you're not what I pictured at all.
What?
Right. I was bad. That's right. And I must have been mad, but my bark is much worse than my bite.
Is that right?
So let's cool it, let's. I acknowledge my debt. I know. Can I buy you dinner tonight?
All right.
Terrific! What are we waiting for?
Miss Harding, you're not actually leaving now, are you?
That's right.
But it's only 5 o'clock.
Right.
And you haven't answered any of your calls yet.
That's right.
And Senator Cole and Cardinal Cook and James Beard and Irving Lazar and Kurt Waldheim.
Right.
And you're going without answering any of them.
Good night, Gerald.
Mr. Craig, I appeal to you, sir. You will have her back within the hour. Right?
Wrong.
Wrong?
Today, Lauren Bacall continues to live in New York. Her children, now grown up, lead their own lives, so she remains by herself. In her own words, I was given an opportunity to reach the highest of all heights at 19. Howard Hawks invented a personality on screen that suited my look and my sound and some of myself. But the projection of worldliness in sex, total independence, the ability to handle any situation, had no more relation to me then than it has now. With that, I was also given a personal life fuller than I ever dreamed I would have, or needless to say, have had since. I had grabbed at the sky and had touched some stars. And who but a 20-year-old would think you could keep it? When it all went, though the career was more down than up almost immediately, why did I keep going? I would say being loved unselfishly by 2 people had a hell of a lot to do with it. My mother gave to me constantly, and Bogey, with his great ability to love, never suppressing me, helping me to keep my values straight in a town where there were few, forcing my standards higher, to never sell my soul, to have self-esteem, to be true, was most important of all. I'm not sure where the next years will take me, what they will hold. But I'm open to suggestions.
What can I tell you? You're Tess Harding, for God's sake. I've never done anything really important with my life the way you have. I'll bet your friends are all celebrities. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? You can make a pot roast. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? First you brown an onion. Here's your picture up at Sardi's. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? You can clean an oven. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? First you get the easy off.
Oh, the grass is always greener on somebody else's estate. Oh, the meat is always leaner on somebody else's dinner plate. But you can sew a button on. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? Bet you've been to discos. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? First you take a Valium. I can see you planning picnics. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? Eating at the White House. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? First they pass the jelly beans. Oh, the grass is always greener on somebody else's front lawn. Oh, somebody else's wiener always has a lot more relish on.
You save the whales in Newfoundland. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? You can run a household. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? First you have a breakdown. You're always in the magazine. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? You can hold a husband. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? There's more to life than husbands.
I could use a husband.
You can have my husband.
I've already had your husband. Oh, it makes you kind of teary. Oh, think about it, dearie. The grass is always greener in someone else's yard.
In this program, you heard the voices of Lauren Bacall, Michael Billington, and Caroline Jones, with excerpts from the films To Have and Have Not and The Big Sleep. The music was from the shows Applause and Woman of the Year. Narration by John West. The program written and produced by Alison White. Lauren Bacall, who celebrates her 60th birthday tomorrow, the 16th of September. And that's about all we have time for in tonight's program. Next week, an hour on the great Carol Channing, still going strong. She's currently appearing in a touring production in America of Jerry's Girls, the Jerry in question being Jerry Herman, composer of Mame and Hello Dolly and La Cage aux Folles and others. That's now touring in the western states of the USA. That's next week on Sentimental Journey. Till then, goodbye from John West and from this week's writer-producer, Tony Rasmussen. ABC Radio 1 and Radio 3. Eastern Time is 10 o'clock.